Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I am so excited that you're here for today's Lunch and Learn. Today we're going to talk about the power of thoughts and how you think matters. One of my favorite topics for sure to talk about. And today I really want to help you raise your awareness for the different types of thinking that we can employ to grow our business. So there's lots of different ways, but for the purpose of today's class, we're going to examine 3 ways that you can improve your results and fast track your success by using focused thinking, strategic thinking, and reflective thinking. Those happen to be 3 of my favorite ways to use in my journaling. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. For those of you who don't yet know me, my name is Anza Goodbar. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have owned 3 8-figure businesses and several multi-6-figure businesses over the past 12 years. I am a data-driven lead generation guru. We use data to develop curated audiences to help scale businesses for service providers. I am a John Maxwell leadership certified coach, trainer, and speaker. I'm a 7-time best-selling author, and I am a personal development enthusiast. And I am so thrilled that you're here to join us for today's Lunch and Learn. What we're going to cover today is the power of focused thinking, how you can remain focused, the power of strategic thinking. We're going to take a look at the 7 layers of planning or levels of planning, the power of reflective thinking, and the benefits of reflective thinking. So let's dig right in. The power of focused thinking, that helps us to be able to direct our energy towards a specific goal. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm excited about something, I'll have an idea and I want to jump on that idea. And then that will spur another idea. And before you know it, I'm lost down the rabbit hole. And so I need to be really careful about how I spend my energy. And so utilizing focused thinking can really help me cut away those distractions from getting me from point A to point B in a meaningful manner. It allows me to have space to create my ideas, but it also allows me the freedom to be able to put some of those ideas on hold and say, this is a really great idea, but not right now. And I'll put it into a follow-up folder, schedule it for the next quarter or whenever is appropriate to pick it up and take a look at it again. It helps me remove clutter. I don't know about you, but when my mind is cluttered and when I lack clarity, I don't take action. It's really hard for me to get paralyzed about what do I do next? Where do I go from here? And so when I really key in on being focused on what it is I'm doing, I'm able to get better results. And this helps me uplevel my business in so many different ways. One, when I'm clear, I have good messaging that is going out. I have a specific goal that I'm working for, right? I'm in my lane, I'm in my zone of genius, and I can proceed forward. If I allow all of those other ideas to take me down different bunny holes, then I'm trapped, right? I'm stuck with analysis paralysis. I'm overwhelmed with all these things that I need to do. And so I really need to be able to gear in on what that is. So, if you followed me for any amount of time, you know that I'm really big into journaling and using journaling as a business building tool. So when I schedule my journaling time, part of that time is dedicated to being focused and journaling about, what I'm working on. How do I feel about that? What does that look like when I put that into action? And being able to really ask myself good questions about, am I staying on track? Am I using focus as a filter? If I take on this, is this going to further me down my goal? Is it going to be a distraction? Is it going to take me away? Is it something that I can monetize, right? Because I always want to be focused on monetizing in my business, just like you do. And so focused thinking allows me to make better decisions. And I think that utilizing that in your business can also help you as you start moving forward. So how do you remain focused? Well, one is to minimize your distractions and transitions in your day. So how can you do that? One of the things that I teach is chunking your time, putting blocks of time together for specific types of activities. And I even go so far as to say, measure what that looks like by the energy that you have to spend. So when you need high energy, what does that look like for your tasks? Is that doing sales calls? Do you need to be really high and highly energetic for those? When do you need to be creative? Does that require high energy, medium energy, low energy? What does that look like for you? What time of day do you have that kind of energy? Schedule those activities. And so you're not going in and out of different energy levels. That can be exhausting, especially if you're an introvert like I am. So try and minimize the transitions going back and forth in between your activities, because you're able to be much more focused. And not only that, but when you jump in and out of transitioning between events, you can take up to 28 minutes jumping back in to where you were and becoming focused again. And so if you look at multiple transitions throughout the day, you can lose a lot of time and productivity. So, think about the benefits that focusing in on a specific goal or activity can do for you. Um, Focus on doing the right things so you get the best return on your investment. Our time is only a one-time deal, right? We don't get to go back and do over. We don't get to go back and pull more time into our day if we wasted time in transitions or whatever. So make sure that you're doing the right things. And part of that is determined by asking the right questions. Is this activity furthering me in my goal? Is this helping me achieve this? If your answers are no, then don't do it. Is it something that you personally have to do? Or is it something that you could delegate to a team member or to a freelancer that you've brought on to help you with? So be really careful about how you spend your energy and how you spend your time, and make sure you're getting a high return on your investment. The next thing that you can do is be mindful and be present. Oftentimes, it's really hard when we're busy to be present in the moment. We're thinking about, I need to do this. I need to tell someone this. I need to give these instructions. I need to get this done. And you're distracted. Be present in the moment. And one of the ways that I do that is through breathing exercises. When I feel like my mind is really cluttered and I'm not able to really focus on what I'm doing, I'll stop and I'll close my eyes. And there's a couple different types of breathing activities that I'll do. And sometimes if I'm feeling like tightness in my chest, like, oh, I'm just so stressed, right? I'm overwhelmed with all the things I need to do. I'll do some candlestick breaths. And that's simply inhaling deeply, exhaling with force, like you're blowing out a candle on a birthday cake. And so I'll breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth, right? So and I'll do 3 of those. And I can feel the tension in my chest and in my back, and it just all kind of dissipates. I'll do 3 to 5 of those depending on how I'm doing. And that can oftentimes bring me back into my body, feeling very present and aware of what's going on. And it allows me to kind of clear some of that static energy going on. Sometimes I'll do a box breath if I'm feeling it a little bit more in my gut. Box breaths seem to work better for me. And that's where you can inhale for between 4 to 7 seconds, wherever you feel comfortable. You hold for the same amount of time. You exhale the same amount of time. You hold. And I'll do a series of 10 of those. So in through your nose, out through your mouth. So I hope you did those along with me. Those really help calm me, and help me just feel really in my body as well. I feel the stress release in a different place, like I said, more in my diaphragm area. And so, play with some different breath exercises and see how that goes. Consistently schedule time for focused thinking. I like to do my focused thinking in the evening when I'm journaling in the evening. I usually journal in the morning and again in the evening at the end of the day. And that's a time of day where I can really look back and reflect. How did I feel today? How was things going? Did I get everything done? Was I productive? What worked today? What didn't work today? And I really focus in on how can we do better? How did my team perform today? What roadblocks came in the way? And it's a really great time for me not only to look at my personal performance, but to look at my company and its growth and where it is and where are the gaps? How can I fill in those gaps? And so that can be really helpful. Be clear about what you're working towards. And focused thinking can come in really handy when you're going through and updating your business plan or when you're setting your goals or intentions for the new year. What are you working for? What clarity do you have? Because, in marketing, we say a confused mind never buys, but a confused mind also never takes action. If we don't know what we're working towards, what the purpose is, what the outcome is, then we don't take action to get there because we don't know where we're going and it can hold us stuck. So, using focused thinking time can really help you gain clarity about the end goal that you're working towards, whether it's creating a new project or a new program, whether it's, opening up to a new niche. Why are you doing it? Who are you trying to reach? What kind of transformation are you offering? What solution are you providing, right? Is there a market for this? How do you know? Going through and asking yourself all of those kinds of questions so you have clarity and can actually take action to move towards achieving that goal. Use a vision board. Our mind works in pictures, our mind works in stories. And so when we have those goals in front of us, it's really easy to continue to remember our why. I'm working on this project so I can have this end result, right? I want to up-level my business so we can move into a bigger house. Our family's needs are growing. The kids are getting bigger. They need more space, right? I want more family time. I want to enjoy a vacationing with my family. I want to travel more. Why am I doing this, right? What result do you want? Keep that in front of you with some pictures. Regardless of what those pictures are, they'll be a very significant reminder for you. And then set smarter goals. So, everybody's really familiar with SMART goals, right? They need to be specific, measurable, they need to be actionable, they need to be, what is the R? I can't remember the R now. Oh my gosh. T, they need to be time bound, right? Um, E is they need to be evaluated and they need to be reviewed, right? And so using your focused thinking time can help you with that evaluation and review part of your goals. It's really important to go back and review. Am I on track? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Do I need to pivot? Right? And so be able to give yourself that flexibility. Just because you've set that goal doesn't mean that that goal can't or shouldn't change. So let's talk about the power of strategic thinking. I am a big strategy person, and it's really important to me to be able to break the strategies down into tactics so I can move closer and closer to my goals. And strategies really help you like put the meat on the bones, right? If you think about a skeleton and then you think about the muscles and the tendons and everything, that's what our tactics do. It allows us to break down that big goal into something that is more bite-sized and manageable. It helps us create our business plan, right? We want to have a strategy for growth. How are we managing our growth? How are we reaching new people? How are we bringing in additional income? How are we providing resources in our business to be able to sustain that growth so we're prepared to handle the influx of new business? Strategic thinking helps us schedule out our time. John Maxwell does a 40-day calendar method. And so he sits down on a regular basis and he schedules out the next 40 days. And so he has everything on his calendar: family time, um, business travel, meetings, regular things that he does for personal development, all of those things. And I have followed that method for a long time in my business too. In fact, I usually will do it a quarter at a time because I have a lot of changes that go on in my personal life that are quarterly driven. And so I go through and I make all of those changes. So I'm not putting out fires. It's easier for me to go in and plug things in. I use a digital calendar so I'm able to go in and make changes, especially for recurring things, rather easily. It helps me to really um, get more out of my day because, again, this goes back into the way I chunk my time and I minimize my transitions. It helps me really be a high performer when I need to be a high performer, right? Keeps me focused on task and moving forward. It helps me have clarity. Um, it helps me see my patterns, to see where my efficiencies are, to see where I'm being inefficient. It helps me to be able to be more consistent in the action that I'm taking when I have a strategy that is plotted out. Because I mean, a strategy is just words, right? If you're not taking action, strategies cause us to be able to take action because they help us bring clarity. We want to make sure that we are simplifying and not complicating things, and strategies can help us do that. We can find the shortest distance between point A and point B when we have a strategy. When we're strategizing, it helps us ask questions. Why should I do that? How should I implement that? Who is this impacting? What gaps are there? What struggles do I need to overcome? Right? It really helps us bring focus in when we concentrate on the strategy. It helps us ask the right questions. Am I going in the right direction? Is this what's best for my organization? What finances do I need to have in place to make this happen? How am I going to track this? Is it measurable, right? What kind of evaluation process do I have in place to know if I'm doing the right things, if I'm getting the right results, if I'm headed in the right direction? And how can I refine those things when I find those answers, right? And so it really helps us stay on track when we have a strategy. So those of you who know me know that I'm not big in cookie cutter situations, right? I don't believe that one size fits all in clothing, and I certainly don't believe that one size fits all in your business. I think that you need to customize any kind of system out there to fit you and your circumstances and your specific needs. And so when we have a strategy, we're able to take the parts of any system that work for us and meld them together with parts of other systems to create our own unique system. And so it works for us, it works for our team, and we're able to get the results that we're looking for. It also really allows us to pivot as needed when we have a strategy. What's your goal? When COVID hit, it was a huge pivot in my business. I saw a lot of women losing their jobs and needing to be at home. And I was able to pivot and pull together a program that I called this what do I call it? The blueprint. Yeah, the business and life blueprint for making six figures in your business, right? And that was instrumental at that time. I was able to take tools and resources that I already had and be able to repurpose them into a program that could help people right now in the moment who were needing to retool and refigure out how to make income and be at home with their kids and whatnot. And figure out a different work atmosphere, a different work-life balance. And so taking tools that I used as a strategy, then I could help other people build a strategy to create a home-based business. And so that can really be useful when you're looking at how you need to pivot and move forward. It also helps us improve quality control. When we have a strategy, we have systems in place, right? We have processes in place, and we make sure that the things that we're doing are easily replicatable, and it allows us to have other people fill in for us so we can free our time up to do other things. So it maximizes and multiplies our efforts. It helps us build influence because he who holds the plan holds the power. And so if you're building a team, you're the visionary, right? You're the one responsible for the growth in your business. And if you have a plan, your people are more apt to follow you. There's nothing more frustrating for a team than not to know what the next step is, not to know what the goal or the direction that you're moving forward in. If things are changing constantly, your people are going to be frustrated and they're probably not going to stick with you very long. So having a clear, well thought out strategy is going to help you grow your business. It helps you have a just do it mentality, right? You don't have to guess. You don't have to cut through all of the clutter. You know what's going on. You have a plan. You're able to have that Nike mentality, just do it. And you realize that, you're learning and growing at the same time. It's okay to take imperfect action. You know the direction you're going. You might need to figure out some of the steps along the way, and that's okay. Ask why before how. Why am I doing this? Why does it matter? Why am I serving these people? Right? Instead of how am I going to serve these people? Why am I doing it? How am I going to get this program made? How am I going to build a website? Well, why? Why are you building it? Right? When you know your why, it gives you the steps that you need to put in place to build out a full-fledged strategy and be able to pull out the tactics to take action and get it done. It helps you identify what the real objections are before you start seeking solutions. One of the big mistakes that I see people make is not having a full strategy, and they're trying to provide solutions that they don't even know that there's a problem for. And so you want to make sure that you're putting the horse back in front of the cart and asking the right questions so you can take the right answer or right actions and have the right priorities. You want to be able to review your resources. What will it take to get this job done once you've decided it's something that you need to move forward? That's something that needs to be built into your strategy. You need to look at the resources, both human resources and monetary resources, to be able to move through. And then you can employ the 7 levels of planning: effectiveness, efficiency, improving, cutting, adapting, different, and impossible. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those in just a minute. Having strategic thinking also helps you get the right people on your team who are in the right role. It's really important to have the right people in the right role. There have been many times that I have turned down opportunities because I was not the right person for the right role. I would have loved to work on some of the projects that I walked away from in a different capacity, but I knew if I wasn't in the right role, I wasn't going to serve the team at my best. So it's really important to understand who you need to have as a team member on your team and what gaps they're filling for you. So you can take a look at that a little bit closer. So let's take a look at the 7 levels of planning. So effectiveness has to do with focusing on and doing the right things. We want to always be better at making decisions. We want to make sure that we have a filter that we're using to choose the things that need to be done. And so effectiveness is really important when we're looking at our planning and the things that we choose to include weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, right? Efficiency, doing the right things the right way. I know I've shared many times before that when I took my why assessment, my why is to find a better way, my how is to make it make sense, and my what is to do it the right way. And so it's really important when you're looking at efficiency that you take a look at what is your process. Could it be automated? Does it need to be done at all? How could it be done better? Is there a better system or a better tool? It took me a long time to find the right CRM for my team to use. What worked well for me, they hated and they didn't use it. So it's better for me to use something that my team is going to use that I may not be totally in love with, because we get more done when the team uses those tools and we communicate better. Improving, finding a better way to do things, right? You always want to be on the lookout. And, improving and efficiency kind of work hand in hand together. And so always be looking at your processes. How can you do things better? What things can you cut? And that's another level of planning. Eliminate the things that don't produce a good return. If you're doing them just for the sake of doing them, because it's always been done that way, challenge the status quo. Look at things that you could let go of or things that you could delegate and, get the best return on your investment of time and money. Adapt. Don't reinvent the wheel. Adapt what others are doing for your purpose. There's a lot of times that I borrow ideas from other people and mold them into my own use. You don't necessarily have to come up with a brand new way of doing something. See what other people are doing that's working for them, and then modify it so it fits into your system or into your work style or that of your team. Different. What can you do differently? I think that that's something that's really important. Looking at the work style of the people on your team, looking at the result that you want to get. Just because something's always been done the same way doesn't mean you always have to do it that way, or that you have to do what everybody else does. One of the most difficult parts of growing my business was I was trying to do all the things that I thought I was supposed to do because I saw other people do it. And when I finally said enough is enough, I don't feel authentic doing this. I don't like doing this. I'm not going to do this. And I started building my business my way. That's when things started working. So don't be afraid to be different from what everybody else is doing. You need to build your business in a way that is in alignment with your values and with who you are naturally and authentically. And then impossible, doing things that other people say can't be done. When I started Audientum and we started looking at the whole idea of the curated audience, people were like, oh no, nobody's going to want that. Oh no, this is how we do it. We sell in the DMs, we stay in Facebook groups, we mine through profiles, we have coffee chats all day long, and that's how we find our people. And when we said, you know what, there's a better way, you can go out and find the people through data and then start building relationship and working with them. If I had listened to people who said, no, this can't be done, you're wasting your time, don't do it, I would be in a different place in my business, right? So don't let other people's opinions sway you. Go out and prove them wrong and do what it is that you feel really called to do. And then repeat the process, right? You want to be able in your planning cycle to create things that are duplicatable, that are replicatable, that are trainable. So you're multiplying the use of your own resources by being able to have other people step into your shoes. So let's talk about the power of reflective thinking. reflection is such a powerful tool, being able to look back on what has happened. And this is a great place to ask questions. And this is probably the most consistent journaling that I do is reflective, because there's always something to look back on. What did I learn today? I try to learn something new every single day, whether it's about, health and nutrition, whether it's about business. It doesn't matter. I want to learn something new every day and be able to keep track of that, right? What should I share with my team, right? I get really excited when there's new things that I'm learning and I want to share everything with them. But sometimes it's not the right time. Maybe it isn't appropriate for me to share some things that I'm learning on a personal level with them on a business platform, right? So, what things should I share with my team? What things do they need to know about me to connect with me better? What action must I take? Are there things that I'm procrastinating on? Are there things that I need to do more often, more consistently? Those are great questions to ask. What factors played a role in the decisions I made? I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm very emotional with the decisions that I make. Um, Many times, most often, in fact, I use my intuition. My intuition steers me in the right direction, probably 98, 99% of the time. Um, Sometimes I make decisions, though, because I feel pressured from other people who have a dissenting view of where I think I should go, and I feel outnumbered. And oftentimes I spend time writing about that, because I'm in turmoil. I'm out of alignment when that happens. Sometimes it's the right decision. Sometimes I wish I'd followed my intuition. And being able to reflect on that helps me sort through that process. What steps did I take to make a good decision? I'm a pro and con girl too. If I'm on the fence, I will make a list of pros and cons. Should I or shouldn't I? Which one weighs, the most in the balance when the list is done? Did I make the right decision in this instance? Why or why not? We don't always make the right decisions, but we can always learn and grow from them, right? And so being able to go back and reflect on the things that are happening in our lives, in our business, and being able to course correct is really valuable. And that happens through the power of reflective thinking. So, some of the benefits that come about from reflective thinking is it helps us have a true perspective. When we're really honest and we take a look at the situation, was I pleased? Was I disappointed? Was I hurt? How did this come about? How can I avoid doing that in the future? What contributing factors played into it? It helps us look in 360 degrees, right? So we're not just having one dimensional thinking as we're looking at becoming better leaders and decision makers. It gives us an emotional integrity in our thought life. Our thoughts are important. What we think, how we think matters. It drives us, right? It plays into what our core values are. It feeds our emotions. It helps us choose the words that we use. It impacts how we show up, right? And we always want to show up as our best, most authentic selves. It increases our confidence in decision making. When we go back and we reflect, it was like, yeah, that was a really great decision. I'm so glad I did that. It was risky, but you know what? That risk paid off. And now we've got this result. Now we're, on a firmer foundation. Now we're poised to reach out and help more people, right? It clarifies the big picture. We're not going to talk about big picture thinking today, but big picture thinking is also a vital way of thinking to grow our business. It helps us look at things from a bird's eye view and not just get, stuck looking for the trees in the middle of the forest, because we just don't see anything because everything is so convoluted. It helps us sort and bring clarity. And then it helps us apply wisdom from past experiences to help prepare us for future growth. And I think that that's what we're all aiming for and striving for, is to be able to continue to become the person that we need to become in order to be ready to take on additional growth in our businesses. But in many cases, we need to become more before our business will follow suit and be able to handle more clients, more revenue, more team members, whatever that more looks like for you. So, what did we cover today? We covered the power of focused thinking. We talked about different strategies for maintaining focus. We talked about the power of strategic thinking. We took a look at the 7 levels of planning. Looked at the power and the benefits of reflective thinking and how we can use all of those tools to grow our business. So, one of the things that we I want you guys to be able to tie into is what areas of our business can benefit from being dedicated to having intentional thinking time. I know a lot of people think it's weird. It's like, well, I think all day long. I don't need to schedule thinking time. But we really do, because we accomplish different things with different types of thinking. So our leadership can be impacted by looking at the different kinds of decisions that we make, the different kinds of communication that we have. Our creativity can be impacted by different kinds of thinking, because when we're more clear about what our goals are, we're able to be more creative in how we're going to fulfill those goals. Or maybe it has to do with writing in your business and being more creative in creating content. It also can be instrumental in how we network, right? When we think about our business and we want to grow, who do I need to know? Who do I need to be connected to? How am I going to come in contact with those people? I am a firm believer that having more real life contact versus just virtual contacts is a really valuable tool in growing our business. And so when we look at the different kinds of thinking that we are employing, it can be really helpful to expand our networks and be in front of more real life people and building those connections and allowing those introductions and referrals to take place. So, my final thoughts and conclusions are some of the benefits that your business has by dedicating time for this type of thinking is you build a stronger foundation for your business. You're more clear in what your goals are, the direction that you're going in. You're a better decision maker because you sit back and you reflect about how you made your decision. Was it a good or bad decision? And you're able to correct and pivot as you need to. You also become a much more confident leader. Your people are more apt to follow you when you're feeling confident, you're determined, you have a vision, you have an action plan, and it creates a healthy company culture. When you're more self aware, you're able to do a lot of self correcting, and just being a better person impacts the way that you interact with your team. And you get more done because you cut out a lot of the clutter, you cut out a lot of the uncertainty, you have a clear path forward, you're taking action, you're building momentum. And that's what it takes to grow a business. It's really all about building consistency and taking those action steps that are required to get you to that next level. So, what are some next steps that you could take away from today's teaching? Well, first of all, you could schedule some time on a regular basis to think and plan. Maybe you need some time every day. And it doesn't mean you need to go away for 4 hours to think. Maybe it's scheduling 15 minutes to start out. 15 minutes at the end of every day, I'm going to reflect and I'm going to answer these 5 questions, right? Or every morning, I'm going to start out with strategic thinking. I'm going to look at XYZ in my business, and I'm going to look for better ways to do this or that, right? Um, Start small and then build up. I probably spend an hour every day using some sort of thinking in order to build my business and plan for the future. Some people I know spend way more time than that. So find the rhythm of what works best for you. Take a look at the next 40 days in your calendar. Make sure that you're planning out things that have a regular routine. Make sure that all of your plans, personal, professional, are on your calendar. Know what's going on. Take control of how you're spending your time. And also take a look at where things are on your calendar. Do you need to move some things around? Do you need to chunk some things together? Do you have too many transitions going on? Do you have mix matched energy levels going into different kinds of tasks? Do you need to marry the right energy level to the right task? Find an accountability partner. We always do better when we're accountable to somebody. You know, if it's at the beginning of the week, give 3 priorities that you're going to work on and get done. Check in at the end of the week. Did you get those done? Oh, you didn't? Why not? What happened? You know, don't get someone who's going to be a yes man. Get someone who's going to be that person that you need in your life to continually spur you into action. Use your journal. Use probing questions to answer. Make it a daily thing that you are spending time reflecting and holding yourself accountable even to your own personal and professional growth. And then, you know, as always, if you need help, our team of business coaches can help you with any and all of these things. And we would love to help you get the results that you're working for. If this sounds like an area that you need to partner with someone, please schedule a call with one of our team and we'll get you set up and on that plan to success. Thank you so much for being with me today. I look forward to seeing you next week.